We're back up on this night tight groove that was actually back on in the winter. You might have watched that video. We replaced the heat exchanger on this unit here. We have no AC on this unit. This one was leaking like a bastard out of here. I just cleared the drain line. This drain line was all clogged, so I just cleaned that out. You can see all the water that came out of that. So that's draining nice now, but air conditioning wise, that unit's all set. It's this guy here that's not working. And what do we got? 14. Switch number S7, which is the code on the schematic if you need to find it. High pressure number 2 is open. So high pressure for compressor number 2 is open, which is this guy here, which more than likely means my condenser fan motors are not working. I do have 2 fuses for them, and you can see that one's kind of freewheeling over there. In the breeze, this one isn't. Let me take a screwdriver in there. Something wrong here. Let me see if... Oh, it's loose. That one's also loose. Although I don't know if you can see in there, I got a bunch of wires laying right up against the coil in there. I don't like that. Okay, so first things first, we'll check those fuses. So I'm gonna grab my meter, which I think I left down in the truck. Let me go get that. Oh yeah, that's cute, huh? Gotta watch your step around the roofs. A little hepatitis. Jesus, even when I was an EMT, I never had a needle stick. I don't want to get one working on air conditioners. Alright, I just shut it down because, I don't know if you can see that, my head pressure spiked to around 375. Now we had 2 issues. One, this head pressure control on my second stage compressor here, that's dead. That's toast. It won't reset no matter what I do. Obviously the pressure was around 100 equalized with the unit off, and this will not reset. So I had just jumped it out just to watch it run. Now nothing is wrong with my my fuses in there, and nothing is wrong with my 2 relays. 1 relay for each fan. 1 relay is controlled directly from your thermostat. In other words, when this unit calls for cooling, the first fan is always on no matter what. This fan here is controlled by one of these 2 switches here. There's a switch here, one here and one here. These are pressure switches. What they'll do is, depending on which compressor needs what, you can see there are two separate sets here. Those go into the terminal board up here. If one of these closes, what will happen is it'll pull in this relay, starting up that second fan motor, and then when the switch is open, when the pressure drops to a certain point, these will open, and the switch will open up, cutting that second fan out. That way there on winter, you have the fan cycling, so you're not subcooling yourself. Now, so I'm getting 24 volts into here. I'm getting 208 between my power out to my fan and the other end of my power, which is on my capacitor here. And we're just not running. The fan motor's not turning at all. So I probably need a fan motor. I'm gonna 100% confirm that by starting this up again and going directly to the fan motor plug and making sure I have 208 there. If not, I could be losing it between point A and B through a broken wire, which is extremely possible. So I want to double check that. At the very least, I need to get them a high pressure switch, which I used my last one yesterday, and I haven't been to the supply house yet today, so I'll see if I have one of these in the truck. If not, if I have to get the fan motor anyway, then I can just come back to that. So let me take a peek, see if I see any broken wires. I want to go swimming. Pretty much nice lake here, about a good 2-3 inches deep. This outside safety thing was clogged. That one down there is clogged. Oh, let me pull this shit out of that and then get this lake drain so I don't get my feet soaked. Okay, we're inside the condenser here, and that's the fan motor. It's not running over there. I just unplugged it, just right here. All the wires come in through a little hole right behind this fan shroud that you can't see. So a lot of times they rub out, but I just wanted to show you something. Now I did this. I did this a while ago, actually. You can see that the coil here is all hacked out and the line's pulled out. Well, there's a reason for that. I had a leak right behind this metal plate. In other words, it leaked right where these little 180-degree bends go right underneath this metal plate. So there's really no way to get at it. But what you can do is you have to be very careful with it. This copper that's on the coil is not normal copper. In other words, it's 3/8 copper, but it's not very thick. It's extremely thin. So what you do is slice yourself a decent chunk out of the coil, which you can see here. Don't worry about losing airflow over this one little section. That's not going to really affect your pressures or anything, because you have this entire massive coil here to take up for all that. Okay, so you slice a piece out here. Alright, and you very extremely gently make a slight bend in it to curve it out to where you can get at all sides of it, because what had happened was, like I said, I had leaked right in here. So what I was able to do is take a pair of dikes and snip the end of this copper off. You're gonna crush it, but you can't get a tubing cutter in here, so you just snip it off, and then you can bend it. Then this piece that usually goes down in here, you can bend it away, get your imp in there, and cut the end off till it's a nice solderable area. And then this, like I said, very gently bend out, and 3/8 copper doesn't quite want to fit inside of this, especially when you cut it with the tubing cutter, because this is so thin, it'll crimp it down a little bit. So you got your swaging tool, right? You clamp it on there and you open it up just a hair, just enough to be able to fit a piece of 3/8 copper in there. You can see 3/8 here and a coupling. Now you can see this is all soft soldered. This is soft soldered with Stay Bright, which, as I mentioned before, it melts at like 500 degrees and is more than strong enough for even in a condenser like this. You can use it on a discharge line. It's not going to melt. If your discharge line is getting up to 500 degrees, you got something majorly wrong, and you're going to kill the compressor anyway. So even if you pop a joint, it's preferable to pop a joint and discharge that high of a pressure anyway. But this. And the other thing with using the Stay Bright is it doesn't anneal the copper, but you can't, or you, I won't say you can't, but if you were to braze this here, you have way more of a chance of melting straight through this thin wall copper than you ever do of getting the copper up to the right temperature to make the brazing rod flow. You can see by the oxidization on the joints here, this has been like this for a while. Honestly, this has been like this for about maybe 3 years or so. And obviously it went off on high pressure, and my pressure was up to 375 before I shut it off, and these things pop at 410. So obviously it can hold that pressure perfectly fine, and I got no leaks there, and it didn't melt. So I mean, you know, a lot of people don't like soft soldering, don't like Stay Bright. They say, you know, hacks use it and all this other stuff, but I've been using it for the 15 years I've been doing this and haven't had an issue with it. And like I said, for this application, it's wonderful. Granted, there are some places that require brazing. I wouldn't use this on any 410 systems, just because of the fact that the pressures do get way high on that. It is rated for use on 410 systems, but just because the pressure is just so much higher than a normal refrigeration or air conditioning system, I wouldn't do it. But again, that's just me. So we got the plug unplugged from that motor there, so I'm going to stick my meter on here and turn the unit on. If I get 208 here, then that fan motor is definitely dead. If I don't get 208 here, then we're losing it between here and that relay. It's just a double check just to make sure, because the worst thing in the world is thinking it's a dead fan motor, buying a new fan motor, putting it in, and having the same thing happen. So get my meter on there, we'll stick them in there, and we'll turn the unit on. Alright, we just turned the unit on. It's resetting itself. I have it jumped out so the thermostat, I'll have to worry about the thermostat downstairs. Both of them kicked on. And look. I'm only getting 120 of that motor. So I'm losing it between that motor and that relay. I gotta find where I'm losing it. Okay, I actually found the problem, and I should have caught this earlier, but that's my fault. I wasn't getting the full voltage to the motor off the relay at all. I was going off the wrong terminal. I was going off the terminal I thought that fed to these, but it was wrong when I looked at the schematic. So that's my screw up, but we did find the problem, and what it is it's this relay. You can see here, those top contacts are open, the bottom contacts there are closed. That should be opposite, just like this other one that's up here. Let me see if I can kind of get you in to see. You can see that those bottom contacts there are open, those tops are closed. So this is a double pole, double throw relay. I don't have one that's like this in the truck, but I do have one of these, which will just mount right up. Can mount right up in the same spot there, and it's the same thing, just different configuration. Instead of being top and bottom, it's side to side. So from here to here is normally open, here to here is normally closed. And here's your second set of contacts, normally open, normally closed, and your coil, which is the same voltage of 24 volts. So we'll pop this in, and hopefully we should get that fan back. Okay, we're on. Get that relay in place, right up in there. See if everything works like it should. Yep, both fans are on now. That relay was our issue. I'll put those panels back on. I did find one of these in the truck, so I'll just put the new one in. And that's it. There's just there's a Schrader underneath here. So let's just unscrew, screw the new one in, pop in the two wires, call it a day. So we're good to go. The set of normally closed contacts that are on this are for these, you see these two wires here? There's a heater in these compressors. You see it right here? Or if it's too cold for this fan to turn on, those heaters are on. If it's warm enough for this fan to turn on, those heaters are off, so you're not overheating the compressor. Another no AC call on this unit here. Now these are a little bit different. They're not extremely common up here in the Northeast. Aaon units. I don't particularly like them, especially these ones. The customers had bought these when they originally did this building because smoking was still allowed in the bars, and they had to have X amount of filtration in it. So that's pretty much what this unit is. This whole front here is all filtration. And because of that, it has a lot of enthalpy controls and a lot of makeup air stuff and air intakes that just don't work anymore. And most of them are jumped out. You can see this here was a wheel, like a filter wheel. It used to spin. You can actually see the coloration there. So it's been stopped for a long time. This is a big blower here that does part of the air exchange from when they had the enclosed bar. And these are all kind of crazy enthalpy controls. Now because of this, these units are relatively complicated in the control section. So we have a, as you can see, a lot of this has been kind of hacked into plenty of times here. A lot of these relays and stuff and these extra contactors don't go to anything anymore because they've been cut out. There's the biggest problem with these units, in all honesty. They have gang transformers, because one transformer isn't enough to do all these relays, and a lot of times they'll keep popping the resets. And that is from like a weak contactor, the magnet on the contactor, the actual coil can be weak. So it's kind of a pain in the ass to trace out which one is which. And everything's relatively tightly packed in there. The only thing I do have to say is that's very, very good about these units is they have one of the most amazing schematics I've ever seen out of any unit. You can see everything is nice and color-coded here. All these wires, and these are actually color-coded to the actual color that's in there. Not very many units do that, and it's a very, very easy to read and easy to follow schematic. And you can see where wires do cross each other the same color, they have different symbols for the wires. So this one has two dots and a dash, and all the way around. So it's very, very easy to follow. So now, my condenser fan motor is running. My compressors aren't running. So I pretty much know what's wrong with this to begin with. The coil doesn't look that bad. You can see somebody left the actually, yeah, you can see somebody's been cleaning this with some crazy acid. Now this is another one of those places where they went to another company and that other company screwed some stuff up, and now we're back. So you can see that somebody's been cleaning this with very, very strong acid. I can literally, you can see I can pull these off with my finger. I mean, I can. That's from cleaning it with too strong of an acid solution, or leaving it on for too long and not rinsing it off. So my fan motor is running, and it is running in the correct direction, so more than likely I'm popped on these head pressure controls. So reset, yep, reset, yep. Alright, so let me slot my gauges on there and see what I'm actually getting for a head pressure. I may have to clean this unit. Okay, so now we got a bit of a mystery, because I just put my gauges on there. Now it's about 78, 79 degrees down there, so, and out here it's probably in mid to high 80s, so it's definitely warm out today. So we're right at 275, 280, which is pretty damn good, and we're dead nuts on 70, which is perfect. Now this other compressor here, you see this one's a 2004, this one's a 2002. The pressure on the 2002 is a little bit higher than the 2004, so this charge is probably just slightly low, but we're pretty much, in other words, I'm running a 250 head on this compressor and a 275 on this compressor. But everything's working. The only thing I did notice, well, what did I do with the tag? I just dropped the tag. But I pulled the tag off these resets to see what they pop out at. These things pop out at 450. Well, this thing to jack up to 450 psi, that condenser fan motor had to have not been working. Now, two things. One, this is the contactor for that condenser fan motor. That's brand new. Brand new. Also, that fan motor, actually, you can actually see it in the camera shutter speed. That's a white tag. This motor is brand new. We didn't put it in, but this motor is brand new. And let's swing this out. You can see that sucker's nice and shiny. Even the wires that they have there, those aren't even oxidized. You can see the old wires there, the nice shiny new wires there. So that was put in extremely, extremely recently. Very recently. I'm going to try to see if I can find out exactly when it came and put that in. Because my theory is they came and either put this fan motor in or replace that contactor, or both, and never reset those head pressure resets. Also, you can see, show you the difference on one of the other ones. This is a replacement fan blade. They probably couldn't get the other one off. The other fan blades are 3-blade fan blades. You can see the gap is about there's about a 2.5-inch gap between the fan blade and the edge of that housing. Okay. Now we'll take a look at this one here, which has the original fan blades on it. You can see those are 3-blade fan blades, and those come right up to the edge. So that blade there is about 3 inches shorter, or 2.5, 3 inches shorter than the original blades. Granted, usually can't get 3-blade fan blades, so that's probably a 4. So that does have an extra blade on it. But it is, I mean, it's moving a ton of air. Moving a ton of air. Pulling a ton of heat. Granted, it was hot the other day. It was hotter than it was today. It was more humid out. And I'm a little bit higher now because I had this off for a little bit. And we're at 290, which is still, for R22, that's still in the realm of, you know, operating pressures, especially on really hot days, and considering that 70 degrees downstairs. I would like to see it around 275 a little bit. That could be just from it being slightly dirty, but it's not, definitely not filthy. This one's filthy. This is the kitchen unit, and this thing's absolutely filthy. You can see the fins are all matted. They're all bent over. Actually, there's almost not much left of the fins on this one either. Look at it. You can see it flaking off. Just with my finger. Now, this thing's running. It's running balls to the wall. Both running. That looks like it was, that doesn't look bad at all. That doesn't look bad at all. That one, like I said, looks filthy, but this one gets a lot of grease. And also with those fins matched over on there, you're gonna get the pollen all stuck to that. And that one runs longer than both of these here. These are dining room units. This one here, yeah, this one's pretty clean too. This one isn't bad at all. Not bad at all. Now, the other people that were doing this are supposed to be doing the PMs, so I'm going to talk to the manager here and see when the PMs were last done, and see if they want us to clean them or if their contract is still with the other company to do the PMs. But other than that, other than giving these things a quick clean, just a quick once over, and probably do that one too if they want me to, you know, service call is done. I don't see anything else wrong with it. No, we're still hovering right there. We're right at 300. I'm not going any higher than that. So 300 is a far cry from 450. Belt's nice and tight. Coil's nice and cold. No frost. See how bad these filters are. $614, they were just changed, and today that was last week. So the filters were just changed last week. I didn't ask to clean anything. So, like I said, I'll see what the deal is with them doing the PMs. If the manager wants me to go ahead and clean those, we'll clean those along with the their walk-ins that are over there. Do everything on this roof. The 3 walk-ins and the ice machine. Other than that, like I said, oh, look at that. Both compressors shut off, condenser fan motor shut off, which means we're down to temp downstairs. Now you can actually really see that that is a brand new fan blade. Look at the shaft, doesn't even have a speck of rust on it. Brand new fan blade, 4-blade fan blade, and there you can see the little bit of a gap difference there. Anyway, so we're good with this call. I'm gonna go see if I have to acid clean these. So if I do, I'll just clean them, and that'll be the end of this call.